Hello everyone, welcome to the Advancement Centre and welcome to the world of magic and miracles, where once again we play with all the energies available to us and let ourselves rise above even the platform of living that we've established. As we speak about it, you'll feel the energies start to move simply because they've been addressed. And this is how you manage to maintain one another at such a high level all the time. The slight mention of the platform of living, that elevated platform of living that we've all encouraged ourselves to maintain, initiates movement of energies that we've never really discussed, apart from the fact that they're there. So now we may discuss a few of the details. We've gone through many little exercises to prove to you that they work automatically and that nobody needs to show you anything. But every now and then it's nice to play with a few things and see that there's a lot more than you ever thought of. Right now, we can extend ourselves to wherever we want. And we don't have to decide what that is. So as soon as you decide to do something specific, you'll find that everything else turns off. This is one of the unusual things where you decide to take over your whole system that's supposed to be running on automatic, takes a dive and climbs back where it came from. It's like you're taking your car out of automatic. You then have to drive. So leaving it in automatic is the skill, the precision, and the fraction of a second movement that you need to be able to drive in automatic. And that fraction of a second movement is as soon as you mention it, either as a thought, as a word, or a feeling. And it switches on and stays on until you take it out of gear. So in the coming days, you will feel every now and then that you've taken yourself out of automatic because you've been trained to run in manual. But as soon as you realize it, you flick it back on. And then you find yourself riding on top of the wave. You're not in the turmoil. You're not having to decide things like you do when you're in manual. Everything changes gear by itself, and everything becomes in balance and perfect all around you by itself. So the key is a friendly fly again. The key that we're pointing to right now is the fact that you are totally aware when you're in automatic. But when you're in manual, you're totally focused. And you're focused on driving your life. If you see a child playing a game, they're not focused on the game, they're focused on movement. They're focused on building something that's different. And it doesn't have to have any rules. And if you attempt to work with them, they'll suddenly change the rules so that it's their game and it's their life. And they very rarely take any notice of you when they're in that mode. So understand that you will be the same. You'll very rarely take any notice of anybody else when you're in that self-driven mode. And you'll find that as you start to enjoy one another, you won't have to take any notice of one another. You'll be so interested that you'll know all about everything everybody's doing, and you'll be involved without having been told to do anything. So that sounds a little bit like a job to do, but in fact, it's forget about running in manual. See that it's easy, and see that it's a lot of fun. Because when you're running in automatic, you can look everywhere. You can test everything. You can just decide to get a big bunch of sparkles and flip them into the air and see where they go. And then all of a sudden, you'll see the people around you start to smile. You go, wow, that was pretty good. But then you say to yourself, well, I don't know if I could do that all the time. So put it in automatic. It started flowing by itself. And then all of a sudden, you'll feel a buzz in your body that confirms that that's what's happening. And each time you feel an interaction with someone, you won't know necessarily who it is, but you'll feel it and you go, wow, that was one of the most amazing feelings I've ever had. So as we look forward, we've got a lot of things to play with. And they're all things that you brought here, not things that I suggest to you. Many people have talents that they never show, but they know they have them. They know that they can make somebody smile from a mile away. They know that they can communicate with the birds, with the flowers, with children in the supermarket. They have a communication system that's unique to them. And a child will pick that up and smile back at you, even though mum and dad are not aware that they've even connected to you. You can change how the traffic is going. You can relax and watch everybody get out of your lane. They all change lanes all over the place, and your path ahead just keeps opening. Many people have many different ways of doing things. You often hear of people finding a parking spot every time they want to park, even in the busiest of areas. Someone takes it in their mind to leave just as you arrive. All this belongs to those skills that you're presenting to the world. If you look further into such a skill, you'll see that it doesn't impose on anyone. This is the format of our love for one another. We get a really great feeling about finding a parking spot. But in fact, we've sent something forward that's changed the timing of events and made it all fit together perfectly in a balanced manner, so that we gain and so does everybody else. There's no congestion, there's no difficulties, and we didn't steal a spot from somebody else. You'll find that at that time, many people found the right place to be at the right time. In overcrowded cities, this stands out enormously. If you're driving in manual, you're driving your world in manual, you go round and round the block 6 or 7 times before you can find a place to park. If everything's going well, you drive straight up and pull into a parking spot. And this is a small example, but have a look at what it takes to actually make all that happen. It's like we've decided not to stampede our world. We've decided to take it gently, and it works every time. Every person is capable of doing one or another thing, but they're never all the same. The calmness of your world depends on so many different things that you don't have to think about, but it works because of you. Even the weather, when you need it to be as it's supposed to be or as it's not supposed to be, it will change. Even if it's just in the area where you're living or where you're going. How many times has there been a wedding held and it's predicted that it's going to rain and it doesn't, just in that area? Because all the people have a desire for a really nice wedding and the rain stays away. We are beyond the recognized being that has been portrayed in this physical world. And we're demonstrating it all the time, but we're not talking about it. People should hold their head high. When something synchronistic, something of synchronicity, I have a little bit of trouble with that word, sort of appears in their life, where somebody turns up just because they turn up, not because you arranged anything. Even with things that fail, you'll find they fail so that something positive can happen either in your life or to whatever failed. But every movement around you from here on in has more than just a small positive feature. It has total harmony with the world that you've discovered you brought in with you. And as you start to smile about the mystery, all your energy starts to rise. And if you look really closely at what's happening, all the fields are starting to spin at an extremely high speed. And if you want to, you can slow it down and spin it up yourself, just like you spin up a top. And when it gets to a certain speed, you'll know that it's got to go faster and faster and faster until you feel you can lift off. And then you go faster again. And a portion of you does lift off, and the weight comes off your whole everyday actions. It's like standing at the top of a mountain, putting your hands in the air and saying, "Ah, that feels good," because everything's lifted off you. Well, now you can sit in your own chair and see that you've slowed down the spinning effect, and you just let it go. And away it goes. And you have more energy than you can ever use. So you start to give it away, and you'll get more. So the more you feed to yourself, automatically, the more is available for everyone and everything. Things stop deteriorating in your presence. The house and everything around it seems like it's alive. And it's all because you allowed your energy to spin automatically at a rate faster than the speed of light. And that produces the light that people see in your eyes. When we make a decision on anything, we've placed some restrictions in our field. And when we start to spin our energies, we cause turmoil and turbulence that was never meant to be. So it's not necessary to make a decision, it's necessary to make everything around you work as it should, in automatic mode, with delight, harmony, sparkles, mischief, fun, celebration, all the things that switch that something on in you that you're proud of. And it doesn't have to be an external source that does it. In automatic mode, your spirit will take you to where everything works the way it's supposed to work. And if you make a decision, I'm not there yet, well, then you've just put a big restriction in your field. But if you go, oh, damn it, I'll let it all go, see what happens. You'll feel like you're flying apart for a few seconds. But then, as it gets faster, total stability in every part of your being. And that brings total stability to your mentality. And once there's total stability in your mentality, you start to feel that special pleasure of being quite smart, intelligent beyond anything you need. You don't even worry about being grateful for anything because it's you. When you say I'm grateful for something, you've set a standard below the level that is you, as if somebody gave it to you. No, that's you, in the likeness of your Creator. And as such, each one of you is capable of the most amazing feats, things that we will talk about in many years to come. But right now, it's go for it. Let's really feel the pleasure of the presence of that special being that is your majestic self. And then use it. Don't use it in manual. Flick it into automatic and watch it fly. And the fields around you will just go everywhere and excite everything. And you don't even have to be in tune with anything because it happens by itself, continuously varying to the level where you could never follow it with the most modern of equipment. But that continuous variation is what's allowing you to spin your energies in all directions at once. You can imagine it spinning around your body, but in fact it's spinning everywhere in all directions. And that's what holds all your features together. All the things that make up your personality. They talk about DNA, but DNA is the picture of what you produce. You can change your DNA measurement just by being calm. But when you're excited, it takes on a whole new form. And they're proving that with sound waves. They're proving that they can use ultra high frequencies to settle down diseases and DNAs and anything that's abnormal. So when you spin and your whole power system's running, it runs faster than any sound system that we can produce. And the faster it runs, the less you can hear. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. So when you're hearing a lot of noise from the universe, it means it's rushing past you. But when you're really into it and you're really alive, you don't hear anything. You're part of it. You're making the noise. So every time we look at one another, we should be bursting out laughing, because we've had all these secrets for all these years and would not tell one another. And it was only that secret that stopped us feeling good. But now the secret's out. And no matter how much science says they know better than you just grin a little bit more and go, when you've caught up with me, let me know, and I'll show you that you haven't caught up with me at all. The only way you can catch up with me is by restricting me. And you've been very successful at restricting me, but watch what's coming. There's no restriction in me anymore. And so everything that you've all used in the past to control situations, people, events, crowds, the whole lot, useless. Because they'll all control themselves automatically in a whole different way. In such a way that each one of us is really proud of who we are. Really proud to stand in front of one another and just look. Because we're unique. Even to the eye, we're unique. And isn't that a great gift? To stand in front of the world and say, look at the job they did on me. Whoever they are. It's not too bad, is it? And then allow the beauty of that energy to pass to everybody so that they can feel it. Because in the feeling, there's depth. In the feeling and the vision that go together, there's depth of character. Because you know that a person can read you and can decide whether you're a nice person or not in a fraction of a second. You don't have to decide whether you're a nice person or not. You just be you, and you are. But quite often, if you don't measure up to the picture that you've made for yourself, you will transmit that you're not a nice person, and you'll live that. So now that's over. Nobody has to be concerned. It's a simple matter of allowing all the energies to flow the way you brought them into the universe and the way you brought them into this world. and you will change the nature of even the most obnoxious person, animal, or thing. It will change immediately, because that's who you are. You only see the world that you brought, and therefore the rest disappears, and that's your magic. So once we all get into play mode, we're going to open doors. And these doors have our own name on them. Things that we can open up and say, there, that's what it's like to be alive. That's what I feel in my world. And now the energy of that you can feel, but you can't have my world. You've got your own. And as they interact, you all manage to find your own parking spots, to drive your own direction, and to work in automatic without running into one another. So next time we meet, you'll understand when I say, I wish you a perfect life, perfect health, and a really magic future. Thank you.